Hello, this is Rob from Rims Models. This is my first update of this kit by Ryefield, the Jagdpanther G2. Before we start, I'd like to say a big thank you to all my subscribers, all your comments. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate you as well watching my videos. But in this first update, all we do is work on the main gun. There's quite a few steps to this, really detailed, really nice. I really like Ryefield kits. I haven't done many, but the ones I've done have been really good. As always, I cut the parts off, clean them up off camera, do the dry fitting, test fit it, just make sure everything fits okay. All the sprue nibs are all on the mating surfaces, so all you do, just gently sand, don't sand too much, because you'll put a little, you'll flatten it sort of thing. And then just keep test fitting in it as well, so you don't get no gaps. Okay, so watch what you're doing here as well. There's a lot of parts you don't glue, so that will help, so you can have it workable. And one of the options, your first of your options, you've got a spring, so you can have it so it recoils. Well, I've gone for the spring. Right, so, and all I do, as the same as always, before I cut the parts off, I just put the numbers on so I know which is which. Okay, so, and I'll glue these, let them dry, and then I'll clean them up before I fit them. But what I like to do is just squeeze them a little bit so the glue oozes out, let it dry, and then when you sand it, then you get no seam line. I try and, when there's little pieces like this as well, I like to try and hold them with my tweezers, just so you don't want the glue capillarying under your finger. Now these will only fit one way as well. Now a lot of the parts I don't fit on camera because there's just lots of little parts. Like I say, if you're really careful, don't glue it where it tells you not to glue. You'll have a working gun at the end, so you can adjust it up and down, side to side, and then you can have it recoiling if you pick the spring. So everything I'm doing here is step 1 of the instructions. Really nice, really detailed, beautiful fit. A really nice kit by Ryefield. This is. I have got another Ryefield kit in the stash as well, so the update to that will be coming very soon. The trumpeter 116 King Tiger's coming along nicely. I'd say I've got the lower hull interior almost finished. I'll say I'm about 95% complete. There is an update to that coming soon as well. Because I'm at the painting stage, you've got to paint things, let it dry, and you've got to mask and paint and again. So rather than not doing anything, I thought I'd start another build just to fill the gap in, sort of thing. I've had this kit in the stash now for a while, and I've been meaning to start it, so I thought now's the ideal time. Okay, so again, just dry fit. Now that one piece, the thin piece there of the two, I do a bit later on. I do break that. It's really flimsy. But all I do, I just cut it off, drill a hole, and put a bit of, make one out of a bit of tubing then. Alright, so this, you got two little tabs to cut away. If you're using your first option, if you go for the spring, you don't need to cut it. You get like a little plastic sleeve. If you use that, if you do that version, so it doesn't recoil, you've got there's two little parts inside you cut off. Well, the instructions are really clear, and it takes you through each step really good. There's not a lot of parts on each step as well. But to complete the build, you've got 64 steps to do. And just to give you an idea, this update is just the first 7. So it's going to take you quite a while. Well, the good thing as well about this kit, the actual roof of the actual tank is actually clear, made of clear, moulded out of clear plastic, so you can see all the interior. So you can really go to town on the painting and the weathering. You could as well leave it loose, so you can just pull it off if you decide to. You don't have to leave it clear, you could paint it. Well, you just got to be careful when you paint the parts, when you glue them on the roof. You just got to be careful you don't get, I always glue it on. I've got some, when I get to it, I've got some clear super glue, it dries clear. So I'll show you all that when I get to it. Okay, so again, nice and gentle. Couple of little delicate parts, and also in this step I'm doing now, you've got your first bit of photo etch to do as well. Okay, so I've let that dry. I've sanded it down just so you don't see the seam. Really nice. All you gotta do is just make sure you get these the right way. All I'm doing, just making sure, I'm just studying the drawing, make sure I'm getting it the right way. Now there's two holes, but the one hole is slightly bigger than the other one, so you can't get it mixed up. But all you got to worry about is making sure it faces the right way. Also, in the instructions, if you come to build it, you get a lot of like zoomed in pictures. They're like CAD drawings, and it shows you where the parts fit, which really helps. Also, there's a lot of options as well to do. Right, so again I'm just making sure I'm holding it the right way. I've got it the right way up. That's the one good thing about test fitting your parts. That way then if you get it wrong you can just take it off. If you've already committed to glue then it's a lot harder. Now I've been having a lot of trouble as well. I don't know if it's me, but the Tamiya extra thin really seems strong and it melts the plastic quite a lot. So I've got a jar of the MIG extra thin cement, and that seems a lot better. Well, when I'm gluing the parts together, really softens the plastic. So I don't use the extra thin now. I've resorted to the MIG. Now this piece you're gluing on, there's a little notch to help you line it up. And all you got to do, I hold it up to my like level, so just to make sure I've got it square. So when you look down the barrel, if it's twisted, you can see. Now I've changed to the MIG here now. And it doesn't melt the plastic as much as the extra thin does. Two little parts. These are both different. So all you got to do is just make sure you fit the right one. But the one hole is slightly larger than the other one, so in theory, it should be alright. Well, when I cut them off, I'll just separate them. Well, this will paint up really nice. All this as well is pretty much the same colour. Well, with the instructions, you get in the middle of the instructions there's like a double page, and it's got the colours used, like the CAD drawings of all the colours. And if you look, it's all the off-white, but the bits that aren't, I can paintbrush. That's another one. Don't glue that piece and that works. If you glue that, you can't elevate your gun. Right, now this was there was a lot of ejector pin marks on this. I dry fitted all of it just to see what ejector pin marks you are going to see. And you could see them all. Excuse me. So rather than risking it and painting it and then spoiling it because you can see them, I've just sanded them all out. Now this plastic's really nice to work, sand. And the ejector pins, some of them are slightly raised, so that helps as well. Now in this step you've got options again. I'll show you when we get to it. You've got a choice of 3 options. Now it determines how you want your gun barrel to look. You can have it looking up, or you can have it horizontal, or you can have it looking down. There's 3 springs and they're all different lengths. Right, that's what I'm showing you there now, look. That's your options. Now I go for the gun horizontal. Now there's a little bit of a seam line on the spring, But there's a couple of swipes. What I do is just get my knife, a couple of swipes, and it's gone. Just buff it up then, and then just get your extra fin and just run around just to get any dust out or anything. And in the end you end up with a really nice looking spring. Now that piece there, don't glue that in, because that's adjustable as well. There's a couple of little pins on, and there's a couple of holes it clips into. Now it does hold in once it's clicked in. Right, now that piece there, I forgot to do it, but you put the spring on that before you put it in, and that's the bit that recoils. But I do pull it back out ready for painting. But you can see how I've bent the piece there. Look, it's really flimsy, and it does snap a bit later on in the video. Once you got it in, it's okay. Now all I had to do was sand the actual gun barrel down before you put it in, because if there's any seam or anything, it catches and it don't recoil. Right. Okay, so there I'm just showing you now. There's your spring and there's your bit of plastic. So that's your next option. Now I tried putting the spring in there, but it didn't work. You need to put it on the other part before you slide it in. Again, ejector pin marks you need to take care of. If you're not too fussed, then don't worry about it, but you can see them. This part I'm fitting now, you don't glue. When you've it tells you in the instructions not to glue it. You've got, how many parts was it now on that? There's 3 parts, and all you do is just glue the one end, push the spring on, and there's like a little lever. That's the piece you don't glue, and then fit the other end. Exactly the same. You've got a bit of a seam, but these springs will be painted. I'll probably do it aluminium or something like that, but the main bulk of it is the off-white. All I've done, because it's in the middle of the instructions, if you just undo the staples, you can pull the paint guide out, and then I have it at the side while I'm building, so I can keep, you got a reference then to keep looking at, you know, so you know, oh, I don't want to fit that, I'll paint it first and then fit it. Right, so this is a little cover. Now this will only fit one way, but all you got to do is just make sure you get the right angle. Well, again, you got a CAD drawing just to help you with the location. And also as well, when you're working on it, as it tells you to glue there's lots of little parts. There's a couple of bits of photo etch and bits of plastic to fit, and then you fit it all together. But I'll fit it together first, glue it all together, and then fit the little parts, because it's quite a small sub-assembly and it's difficult to hold, and when you're gluing you can't squash it together like because of the little parts. There's no sanding to do. If you just take your time, there's no seam. Really nice. Ejector pin marks, but they're on the inside. Well, are you going to see them? I don't think so. But just to make sure, I do sand them off. Now, I can't stress this enough. Just really careful gluing here. You don't want to glue your workable parts together, else you can't elevate your gun. Once it's all together, you could probably glue it then, if you don't want it to be workable. Yeah, it's entirely up to you. Right, now we're working on, this is the gunner's seat. We're working on here. You've got 3 parts on this. Really nice. Bit of a seam line on this piece here. Easy enough to take care of, as long as you've got a nice sharp knife. You'll have no trouble. All you got to do is just make sure you glue this piece on square. Also, what helps as well, if you're unsure how a part fits, just go through the instructions a few steps, and it might show you a bit later on how it fits. I've had that a few times. There's that really nice little assembly there. Now you're working on this is the wheel now. There's 2 parts on this assembly. It don't matter where you glue that, as long as you just get it on the right end. I need to get me a little like a little stand for my glue, because I've nearly knocked it over a couple of times because the bottle's really small. Right, now another good reason for dry fitting is this. If you'd have glued the chair on first, you'd have struggled to get this on. So that's another good reason for dry fitting. You need to put this piece on first and then glue your seat on. Couple of little locating points. Right, now we're going to glue the seat on. I always, when I've glued parts on, I like to try and leave them for a few minutes. Just gives the glue a chance to harden off a bit. One thing I like about this glue as well, it's got a really long brush as well, so you can get into the really tight spots with it. There's a little hole, so it'll only fit one way. When you've done the off-white, you just paint the cushion and the backrest black. Right, now these parts we're working on now, these are the parts that attach the gun to the base, you know, the base you've just built. Now the actual gun's nearly finished now. Even though it's only a short update, there was a lot of work. I like the parts, I didn't film me fitting them. Well, this piece alone, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 parts you glue on this. You've also got these here, your little poly caps. You've got 2 sizes. Try not to forget these, because it'll help with your gun. If you don't put these in, when you fit the gun, it just keeps dropping. If you understand what I mean. Now there's a little bit sticking out, so all I'll do is I'll just get my knife and just cut it flush. It is quite a little tight fit. Right, so this here, all you gotta do, just make sure. I think it'll only fit one way, but just best to make sure. I'll just flick it over, and there you go. There's a little hole the one end where you glue it, but don't glue the other end. And that's another good thing as well about this glue. It doesn't flood your part with glue. You know, it just holds the right amount, I think. Well, I should definitely be using more of it. Okay. So all I'll do now, I'll just dry fit it all together, just to show you. It's all ready for painting. I have glued all the little parts on now, so all you gotta do is just be careful when you're holding it. You don't want to knock any parts off. Now it's not very strong at the moment because it's not glued in together, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how it's going to look. That little piece there has only got the poly cap on. There's nothing else to glue to it. But I do glue that one on in a bit, the little one, because it keeps coming out. Which really fiddly to hold, you know, you don't want to damage nothing. Okay, so this is my first update. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. I'd say a big thank you again, really do appreciate it. There's plenty more to come in this video yet, this build series. I've got it all ready for painting, so I'll catch you in the next update, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.